What's up, friends and foes? Welcome back to Let's Get Nerdy. My name is Corey.
I'm Wyatt. It's another episode of Go-Go-Godzilla, the series where we go through every movie in the Godzilla franchise and decide which one of them truly is king of them all. And today, it's Godzilla versus King Kong. I almost said that backwards.
No, it's not.
What? Yeah,
What
it is.
did you say?
Godzilla versus King Ghidorah.
It is Godzilla versus
No!
King Ghidorah.
Oh, I gotta go!
That's right, back at it like a crack addict. Going all the way back to the year 1992, we are covering Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. It's been a couple weeks, like we said it would, so I apologize for that, but we're back on track with Wyatt's 5 facts of Godzilla.
Yeah, bonus fact: King Ghidorah is the evolution of King Kong. It's like Pokemon. We just figured this out. Yeah. That's bullshit. Don't believe me.
Yeah, you can kind of see the line from gorilla to three-headed dragon.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah,
it's there. So yeah, 5 quick facts. It's written and directed by Kazuki Omari. Did I say that right?
I believe so.
Okay, we're gonna run with it. So sticking with the same director that we've had these last couple films, a runtime of 103 minutes. So again, very on par for the last few movies. It had a budget of 1.5 billion yen, a box office of 1.45 billion yen, and it was released on December 14th of 1991. So there we go.
Nice.
There we go.
So so those are the 5 facts. So I guess 1991, not 1992. That's a mistake on my part.
Yeah, 91.
91. Yeah. So that was a mistake on my part. I guess I don't know as much as I thought I did.
I think it was released in the U.S. in 92.
Yeah. Okay. And again, this is where releases with Godzilla stuff gets weird in the U.S. and years and all that.
Yeah.
But with that, Wyatt,
yes, Corey.
As always, we do like to. The next thing we like to do is getting into the history and initial thoughts of the movie.
Yeah.
What do you have a history with King Ghidorah? Or Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah?
With this particular movie, no, nada. Never had seen it before. I had seen the cover art, which I still think is fucking awesome. It's
one
so
of the
good.
Best.
Yeah. But no, I had never seen this movie before. I just never could find it. Didn't really know it existed. I guess didn't know anything about it really. So.
Okay. Well.
Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I knew it existed because of the cover art. I had never seen it in like a store or on TV or anything. So it was like one of those magical, couldn't ever find it type.
Hidden behind the curtain Godzilla movies. I get that. So this is actually a movie I have seen before. In fact, so there was a period. How do I say this? So the way I saw it was the first time I saw it. Jesus Christ was going to be. I think I believe about 2010 is the year because I found in the very early stages of streaming, I found a website called Crackle.com. I don't know if it's still a thing. I think they tried to be like a legitimate like Netflix contender. I don't know how that worked out, but they used to have a weird amount of Godzilla movies available on their website. Like there would be ads every 10 minutes or so, but it would be they had this one. Strangely, all movies we haven't covered yet. It was that the movie that I think we're covering next week, Godzilla versus Mothra.
Yes.
The 90s version.
Yeah.
They had Godzilla All Out Attack, and then like other ones that I had seen at that point, like Final Wars and stuff like that.
Oh.
So that's how I managed to watch this one for the first time, and I guess I liked it enough because it was a new Godzilla movie I had not yet seen at that point in 2010. Again, because that was in the middle of the Godzilla drought that we had spoken about in our episode of Godzilla 2014. Go back and check it out. But that leads into my initial thoughts. I kind of have the same thoughts I had then. This one's good. It's okay. I don't love. It's definitely not among my favorites. I think it has a lot of really good, cool highlights that I want to talk about. But there's nothing. I will say this: there's nothing egregious that I don't like about this movie. There's just a lot of stuff I feel very neutral about. Too good.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm gonna echo that, and that like it's it's good. It's hello. It's not great, but it's not bad either. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
In some parts, but it's almost weird to the point where like I love it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I actually I kind of had a weird viewing in this movie because like the night I started to watch it, I fell asleep, so I had to pick it back up another night, and then ended up having to go do something, so I had to cut it off, and then had to finish it another night, another morning. What? Hey, excuse me, sir. Pardon me. Thank you.
Why he doesn't like to give them water? It's bad for his
That's not true. So I kind of had to piece it together over 3 different viewings, and every time was like, what the fuck is going on? But I loved it. I had a great time with this. I did find myself kind of being like, why? Why? What's happening?
Yeah.
But then like that kind of got overturned by like, oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And I like kind of laughed at how goofy some of the shit was. But yeah, it's definitely not like in the upper echelon of Godzilla movies, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Now, with that, we are going to get into some of our more detailed thoughts about the plot. If you don't know, I guess I'll start it off. The rough plot of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah is that it opens up with like these you think aliens observing the Earth, and they find like I don't know if it's like remains or like information on King Ghidorah.
It was the remains.
It's a pretty cool fucking intro. I'll say that
It
because
is
they're
cool.
like
Yeah.
they find like the remains with like his head missing, and
some cool foreshadowing.
Yeah, and they're like, I guess it was like from a battle towards the end of the 20th century, and then it goes into the title sequence, which again another awesome title sequence.
Yeah.
And essentially you find out these aren't aliens that are observing Earth or hatching a plan or whatever. They're time travelers all the way from, I think they said like the 46th century, or it was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Very like way far into the future, where I guess Japan had been destroyed all except for Tokyo. Does that sound roughly correct?
Yeah, because Japan had tried to like make it had become like a world superpower to the point that it was becoming like too powerful.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had to go.
Yes. And so I guess their way of doing that was removing the threat that was Godzilla. Essentially, they time travel all the way back. So this is where the plot gets very convoluted.
Yeah,
that's my biggest criticism.
Yeah,
is this plot is so fucking convoluted.
It's so.
It's the most convoluted of a movie we've followed so far, I think.
Yeah.
So again, it's the time travelers. They show up. They like all of a sudden there's a UFO that is like going around the Earth, and they're trying to track it. And it's revealed to we're time travelers. We're coming back to help you. It turns out they're not, but they decide to go all the way back to when Godzilla was just Godzillasaurus on an island and replace him. And they think the regular humans and scientists, they all think that they're just replacing, that they're removing Godzilla from the timeline. But it turns out they're removing him and replacing him with these 3 little, like, I forget the name that they have for the pets, but it turns out they're King Ghidorah once they're irradiated. And so they use that to then unleash an attack on Japan and try to destroy
it. Yeah, before it becomes that superpower. Yeah, this is a very confusing movie.
Yeah,
it's just kind of hard to follow. I don't know if it's because it's not like the most fun plot. I mean, well, the movie has a lot of fun parts in it, but the plot is very like just convoluted.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
There are a few scenes I want to shout out, like, and I'll get into some of the time traveler stuff and alien stuff in a minute, because that's something I want to shout out. Well, I guess because that's all I want to talk about is like the aliens or the time travelers. I don't know what to call them. As characters, they're very like one-dimensional and like ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah, they're very classic like 90s like villains that they're just there to be someone to get punched in the face. That's they're not like.
And then one of them does have it turns out like she wasn't fully aware of what the plan was and was like, hold on, and betrays them. And then they also introduced an android, which is very reminiscent of Bishop from like yeah,
from
Bishop
Aliens.
from Aliens, and then what was the first one? Ash from the first one. I believe it was Ash.
I don't remember what his
I
name
believe
was.
it was Ash, but if not, I'll put the name of the android from Aliens in the very first one. Very much reminiscent of Alien, Terminator, very like evoking the image of sci-fi type stuff.
He was like when you're watching TV at like 3 in the morning and those like really bad B movies come on that are like blatant ripoffs of other movies. It was like he was like they pulled a T-1000 from one of those movies and put it in this movie, so it was like diluted even further.
Which there is a scene where the humans are trying to get away, or
I know
the humans are trying to get. Fuck it, let's talk. The humans are trying to get away from this android, and I get it because I think this came out before T2, so I had to compare it to that. But it was very reminiscent because T2 was 92.
Oh, okay.
T2 was for sure 92.
For sure.
It was for sure 92. But there's that scene where Robert Patrick starts like chasing him down on foot, and it's just menacing because like Robert Patrick, if you don't know, for T2, like specifically trained to run without having to visibly breathe, and so he hits that and it's and the dude hauls ass.
Yeah.
In this one, they very clearly have him on a green screen running in place and is doing that.
Yeah.
And it's way more reminiscent. It's meant to be Terminator-esque.
Yeah.
But it's way more reminiscent of the later seasons of CW Flash, when they very clearly have just Grant Gustin on the treadmill against the green screen, and it's not as like good as the first few seasons of CW Flash.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
It's not good.
It's not good, and like any scene that the android shows up in to like fuck shit up is like the worst produced action scene. So like
so bad.
And we're just gonna be jumping around here. So there is a scene where like they finally, I guess, reprogram the time traveler that feels bad for releasing Ghidorah onto the people of Japan. Ends up reprogramming the android to be on their side, and it's hilarious because like there's a scene where all the rest of the androids, I guess, or like other time travelers are coming in to like capture them, and as they're coming into this room with like full of sparks, they can't find him, and you think like again going back to T2 where like they can't find him and it's because he's the fucking floor, and it's that terrifying moment like no, this guy is like huddled into like a little space between the ceiling and a bookshelf almost going hey guys, and like goes pow 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 pow, but the lasers are going past him, so it doesn't look like he shoots anybody.
Okay, and like this is the part when I was like, I first started going like, what the fuck is what is happening?
Yeah.
But then like the more that android was on screen, the more he became like one of my favorite characters because of how fucking goofy he was.
Yeah.
And I just like I loved it every time he was on screen because it was like, oh hey guys, like it was like, oh hey Mark.
Yeah.
Like it was like that level of acting.
Yeah. And like the dude, and that was the other thing, like the dude was trying to be an android but like very clearly was not good because he'd always have some kind of weird like smirk, but like not in a robotic way, just in like a dude, stop staring at me. There was another scene on the ship when like the main antagonists are like being held by gunpoint, and he like comes in and like it's like sped up footage but like not in a good way, like he like very like
he just like zooms around.
Yeah, he like turns, stops, and goes, and like sits for a second, and goes, and like very clearly sped up footage. It's just, it was so goofy.
It's so bad that it becomes good.
Yes,
to a degree.
It was almost, it was the same level of like from Biollante when we were talking about the two dudes.
Oh yeah,
like, the two French criminals, and the one
guy
like, this is just like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
So it's very much in the same there. Another goofy thing I want to talk about is, so part of this plot is, again, they one of the main characters, and actually one of the best characters, probably the best character in this movie, is there's a gentleman who's like this Japanese businessman who's like proud of everything he's built, and it turns out you find out that he served in World War II, and he was on an island that I think was getting attacked by the U.S. I believe it was.
Yeah.
And on it, the Godzillasaurus, like Godzilla as the dinosaur, shows up and fends off the ship and kind of protects them. And so with that, he always feels, despite Godzilla's destruction and all that, he feels indebted to Godzilla.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, to that point about that scene. I guess there was actually some controversy with this movie, like because of like in the scene, like Godzilla is like stepping and squishing on like American soldiers and whatnot. So there was like some backlash and like
because
criticism of the director being like anti-American because it was in like kind of I guess like a bit of a tense time in politics between America and Japan.
Yeah.
And then still, like, post World War II was a lot more fresh then. So there was some controversy, and he received quite a bit of backlash for a few years because of that scene where it's like, oh, you must be anti-American because Godzilla fended off the American soldiers and was squishing on them like as they're running off the beach. Even though Godzilla got fucked up during that scene, but well, Godzillasaurus got fucked up during that scene, which was surprisingly brutal.
Yep.
To bring back one of our keywords, that was pretty intense scene. But anyway, I'll let you get back to your point.
So eventually, though, like the time travelers are saying, like, well, Godzilla is going to destroy Japan and like bring destruction upon. Like, we need to have him removed. And so the idea is like they would like at the time of this battle and like Godzilla's injury, they will just remove him from the island so that he's not irradiated and becomes the giant lizard that we know and love. And so finally, they time travel back to the island, and as the ship I forget if it shows up or leaves. There's two soldiers.
I think it's leaving.
Leaving.
Yeah.
There's two soldiers on a plane or a ship, and if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hold on. Okay, before you talk about the scene, is this the scene when we were getting dinner a little bit ago that we were going to talk about?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because you brought up like something I don't remember what you said, but I was like I think we're talking about the same scene.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Do you want to save it?"
Yeah.
So
hold
on. Willow, come on, go. Come here. You're being loud. Okay. I love you, but you're being loud. Can you stop, please? You're very clanky. All right. Yeah. All
right. 3, 2, 1. Yes. So I think we are talking. That is the scene I was talking about. So if you don't know, there's a scene where these two soldiers are like talking about just like what do they do about the Japanese problem, and like they're like I guess a typical soldier conversation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see like something like and like take off into the air, and they both freak out for a second, and then the younger guy is like, "Wait, don't you think we should tell command, like alert somebody of the UFO we just saw?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "And what? Tell them that we saw." The American goes, "What was it?" He goes, "Oh, and tell them what? We saw a bunch of ship with a bunch of little green men. Why don't you say this as a story for your child, your son that was just born, Major Spielberg?" And again, that's Steven Spielberg's dad on that ship who saw inspiring, of course, E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, all that. So,
God, yeah,
I got a kick out of that. I thought it was stupid, but it was like, oh, that's fun.
It is like a fun scene, but I remember like when that scene happened was I think the only time that I like spoke out loud during like watching the movie. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah. And so I do think, and like I like it because like I think this movie has kind of a lot of callbacks. Like I mentioned with Biollante, like this is Godzilla in the blockbuster era, and I definitely think this is more so of that.
Oh yeah,
because like even the aliens like suits kind of remind me of from Aliens. I don't know if you remember like when there was like Paul Reiser, like the guy for Wayland Tech, like had the suit with like the weird stand-up collar, and like they do it in Halo too.
Yeah,
they had the same kind of futuristic like suit that other place. So like I think a lot of this movie is harkening back the same way as that last week was like kind of an homage to like James Bond movies and spy thrillers. I think this one is very much an homage to like sci-fi movies and sci-fis of the 80s specifically,
Yeah.
like because it did feel like, say what I will say, like we're not huge fans of the time travel plot or the time travelers in general, but the sets were fucking awesome. The sets were really good, and they were very much invoked. I think like not as well produced, but like Alien, like those kind of spaceship sets.
Yeah.
Even a little bit more so than like the Showa era.
Well, this had like those, like the show I had, like it was very 60s feeling.
Yeah.
But this is very 90s feeling.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know obviously they're made in those time periods, but like you could look at that and be like, okay, yeah, I can. It just gives that vibe of like the 90s and stuff. And go ahead.
With that, Wyatt.
Yes.
There is one name we have not yet to utter in this review, and that's motherfucking Godzilla. What did you think of Godzilla in this movie?
Well, he's fucking awesome.
He's fucking awesome.
He's awesome. He's awesome. Before we get too far down the Godzilla hype train, I did think it was. Did you pick up on like the parallels of this movie to fucking Monster X, Planet X?
Invasion of the Astro Monsters.
That's the one. Yeah. Like, because it's like, oh, aliens show up. They're like, oh yeah, okay. I thought that was.
This feels that, and that's what I'm saying. This does feel the most Showa era of this era. Like this feels like the most classic Godzilla movie.
It does,
for better or worse.
Yeah, it does.
But with that, the Godzilla we get here is definitely not a classic Godzilla.
No.
They double down on the brutality of the creature. So we mentioned like the whole plot is to remove Godzilla from the idea like from the timeline, but it turns out and replace him with King Ghidorah, which we do get a fucking awesome rampage from King Ghidorah of attacking,
we do,
blowing shit up, and like clearly technology's improved because it's a lot more dynamic of a rampage than like the previous ones where it would just be him static flying and shooting things.
Yeah, or
it's
like
still him flying and shooting things, but
yeah, and then like there was a lot of like the static flying and then like close-ups on their feet, like kicking shit.
Yeah.
This one's it's good. It's a good rampage.
Yes. Yeah. But it turns out where they had put Godzilla was they couldn't just remove him. They had to move him somewhere else, and they put him in the bottom of the ocean in a place where I guess there is already just other nuclear tests happening. So he is getting more exposure to nuclear radiation, and the way they find his like radiation signature, and they wake him up with a motherfucking nuclear sub that he destroys and absorbs the energy, right?
Yeah.
And it introduces the Chris Rock Godzilla, otherwise known as the bigger and blacker Godzilla. And this is the fucking Godzilla we love. This is the suit that I'm saying. This is the Godzilla suit I'm the most nostalgic for.
Yeah.
Because it's the one that we get for the rest of these movies, and two movies in particular. Well, one movie in particular. We'll get to that. And this Godzilla is badass. Of like,
oh yeah.
I love it because like, as Ghidorah is going crazy, there is this. You get the theme song, you get the full on ba 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 playing, and he wrecks King Ghidorah's ass. Like, King Ghidorah kind of like starts to like wrap him up and stuff like that. This is also where, and why you're gonna have to direct me a little bit more here because I'm gonna jump all over the place.
Oh, you're doing fine.
I loved this fight.
Yeah.
King Ghidorah like wraps him up with his like wings and stuff like that, and that's when you get the idea that this Godzilla has a little bit more going on than just atomic breath because he like emits shit from all over.
Yeah.
And to get Ghidorah off of him, and then he just the most memorable part, he decapitates King Ghidorah. Like he shoots atomic breath in the middle of King Ghidorah's middle head and just like off,
done,
pops it off,
gone, kaput.
And like in the previous movies in the Showa era. And why jump in here?
No, you're fine. Go ahead. You're on a roll. You're on a roll right now.
I feel like I'm dominating.
You're doing fine.
But like King Ghidorah is, how do I say it? Like in the previous movies, King Ghidorah would probably be like the one washing Godzilla, and like Godzilla gets the upper hand, and like, but like in this one, like Godzilla does the same shit of like grabbing his tail, like slamming. You get the callbacks to that.
He blows holes in his wings and shit. Like,
that was really cool.
Like King Ghidorah doesn't really get a lot of good licks in. Like this is pretty much
one-way traffic.
Yeah. I mean he shows up and kind of smacks him around.
Yeah. I do.
Not for very long.
Yeah, and I do even love you get the kind of like kind of callback of King Ghidorah trying to run away like he has in like I think it was Godzilla vs. Gigan.
Yeah.
And then getting the holes shot through his wings, and like that's why I think Godzilla finally decapitates him. And I love it because it's this sense of like triumph, and Godzilla's won, and like we've defeated King Ghidorah. But then they realize Godzilla's not fucking done.
No, he's not done. He's not happy.
Godzilla is not done, and like because he's
Willow.
Hi, come on. He's not done, and he's not happy, and they realize because he is bigger and more dangerous than he's ever been.
Yeah.
That like they're like immediately like, oh, we fucked up, and you get an even better rampage.
Yeah.
Like Godzilla just wrecking. I think it was Fukuoka at first, and like, but you get the montage of like him going through like sections of Japan, destroying stuff with the music playing throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
And you get more of like the Mazers return. And like they're trying to take him out the Mazers, and that's not working. And you do get a genuinely beautiful scene, I think, with the gentleman I was talking about earlier when he was like, "Oh, I still can build everything because of Godzilla."
Yeah.
As Godzilla's going, he kind of accepts that this is his fault,
right?
Because he was the one who was like, "Godzilla's our savior," and they are even all like, "Well, dude said Godzilla's supposed to be our savior. What do we do now? You know, like our savior is destroying us." And like,
it's a that's a very touching scene.
Yeah.
It really is, because it's calling back to on the island when like they're Godzillasaurus is like essentially it's dying, because he's all full of holes from the naval ship and stuff, and they're having this ceremony to say goodbye to him, because they can't take him with them and they can't do anything for him, so they're assuming he's gonna die, and it's like kind of it's calling back to that, and it's showing some
emotional weight.
Well, yeah, but I was like, it's going back to like the scenes and kind of mirroring, and there's a word I'm looking for that I can't think of. No, whatever.
Parallel.
We'll move past it.
Juxtapose.
No.
Okay.
None of these.
Okay. That's fair.
But Willow, come here. Willow.
Are you scared because it's so high up?
Willow.
Or are you scared in my face?
But anyway, yeah, it does kind of like it references that and comes back, and then it's him, and it's like Godzilla recognizes. Whether he may recognize and he may not, but it seems like there's some acknowledgement between the two there, and Godzilla
don't give a
he doesn't give a fuck,
because he immediately, as the guy like salutes him, I think it is, Godzilla like hits him with the atomic ray and just obliterates the whole building, and it's awesome. It's just that moment of like reinforcing like that this Godzilla is gonna stand up.
Flashbacks. That's the fuck. That's the word I couldn't think of.
That's fair. Okay, that's funny. Flashbacks.
Sorry.
You should be like, oh, that one restaurant in the town we went to high school in.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that.
Not the docs herself.
I don't think it's there anymore. So.
Oh really?
I don't think so.
All right.
She knows no personal space.
I will.
Willow.
Yeah, but. Anyway, and the rampage continues until it turns out. So I mentioned one of the time travelers has, was not aware of the plot to destroy the humans or whatever, and decides to team up. And it turns out she took the corpse of King Ghidorah with her to the future.
This was like they're playing to stop. Yeah, they were like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, at this point they were like, we have no idea how to beat Godzilla.
Yeah,
and then out of nowhere, you get the entrance.
Dude.
Tell me why. Tell me.
I can't tell you how fucking excited I got during this scene because my whole life of watching Godzilla, I never knew where Mecha King Ghidorah comes from.
Yeah.
I never looked into it.
Did I say Mecha Godzilla story?
I don't know. Okay. I don't think you did.
But Mecha King Ghidorah.
But like, and like, I kind of picked up on it. Okay, they're taking the body back to the future, so. Something's happening. I know like in here I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But like when he came out on, oh my god.
Especially because the way he came out. I think she wants down.
Yeah, she does.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So the way Mechagodzilla comes out is fucking all right.
What a chaotic review.
The way Mechagodzilla, fuck. The way Mecha King Ghidorah is revealed is harking back to his like King Ghidorah's like some of his original entrances. Of,
yeah, coming out of
coming out of nowhere, some like sparks flying, and yeah, like before I had seen this movie on Crackle.com, I didn't know either. I had only known Mecha King Ghidorah from like
the games,
the video games.
Yeah, that's where I know him from too.
Yeah.
So,
and I did not like playing him. He sucked to play as.
He did suck to play as.
I'm gonna say that much.
Yeah.
But this scene was fucking awesome because Godzilla still fucks him up.
He fucks him up
because and him, it's the girl or the woman.
She's piloting.
She's the woman piloting, and I kind of I got faked out here because her cockpit's right in the chest of King Ghidorah, and that's the first spot that gets hit with the atomic blast. Oh shit! Godzilla just killed her already. It's no, it's atomic breath proof. Yeah,
which I don't know how, but Mecha King Ghidorah just looks so cool to me. I mean, King Ghidorah is awesome.
But then you make him a robot.
But you make him a fucking robot.
A whole nother level.
Oh my god, it's so cool.
It's awesome, and eventually the fight. It's kind of some of the same stuff that Godzilla is still trying to do, but except you got you also got mechanic wings, mechanic chest, and the mechanic center head.
And he's got little shin guard things for some reason.
It's fucking awesome.
He's got a giant grappling hook system.
Oh yeah. Which comes into play because as Godzilla is.
I guess I kind of jumped ahead on that, but yeah.
I mean, so I guess are there any specific moments from this fight you want to shout
out? I mean, I just it is more back and forth and more balanced and stuff, which I guess is kind of the point. You make him a robot, he's supposed to be better, but I like the difference in the color of his middle breath. I guess if you want to call it a breath weapon or a laser attack, whatever the fuck you want to call it at that point. It's like that purpley white.
Yes, not like that yellow.
It's cool that's different. And then you still got the two yellow lightning. It also, I guess he was just alive at the bottom of the ocean for thousands of years.
King Ghidorah or Godzilla?
King Ghidorah. Because didn't they have to go? I think they had to go back to the future and find him at the bottom of the ocean, and they were like, "We still have a heartbeat."
Yeah.
I forgot about that part. But how is he alive at the bottom of the ocean for?
I don't know.
What did he eat? How did he breathe? He was in the same spot.
See, I think King Ghidorah is a creature built just purely on hate. That's all he needs to do to live.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so the fight ends ultimately in kind of a stalemate / Godzilla losing, which is actually probably why I didn't really like this as a kid. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
As the lady as her final move straps Godzilla in with the grappling hook and flies him into the middle of the ocean to just drop Mecha King Ghidorah and just be like, "This is what we gotta do."
Yeah.
And
I don't know that it was it was she could have dropped him and been fine, but it was if they took one more hit from the atomic breath, it was gonna fail. And they were the way that they grappled him, Godzilla was facing her, so it was he's gonna shoot you. But so it was pretty cool, heroic, I'm gonna get him out of here type thing. And it was kind of cool also to see some form of King Ghidorah be a good guy for once.
Yeah,
in a way,
that was cool. That was cool. It was I guess a cool flip on the head and and they do end up faking out she was able to teleport out. Because the time teleports have teleportation too.
Well, yeah, of course.
Why not? And I did not mean to say it like that, but anyway, they have teleportation also.
Yeah.
And that wraps up the movie. So with that, Wyatt, do you have any? Am I leaving anything out? You're looking around.
Well, I was gonna say something, and then he forgot that, and it just flew out of my brain. Whatever it was. I was saving it. I was saving it for a point to jump in, and then you were like, "Well, we're done." So I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
We have wrap-up thoughts. Wyatt, do you have any last thoughts that you can recover in the last moment?
Well, you go first. I'll see if I can think of it.
Everything I want.
Oh shit!
Again, I love the reveal of the bigger, badder Godzilla.
Yeah.
I actually talking about it more. there's a lot in this movie I do love.
I like this movie.
There's a lot that I find silly. There's nothing I outright dislike. I really can't think of anything like compared to some of the movies lower on this list. I'm interested to see where this ranks because it's definitely not. I think it's going to be a very middle of the list movie.
That's what I think too.
So I guess unless you have any.
Oh, there it is. It's a very minuscule thought, but I thought it was cool that like we got to see her pilot.
Yes.
Mecha King Ghidorah, because like it's cool to see someone pilot a giant mech of some kind, whether it be like Gypsy Danger or a Megazord or whatever the Gundam. Fuck a Gundam, whatever the fuck it's just cool. It's cool to see.
It is very cool.
And I don't like this is the first time we've seen someone be inside of a monster fight Godzilla, right? Like because they haven't piloted a Mecha Godzilla yet.
Yeah, so. I guess Mecha Godzilla was always like remote or something like that. So yeah, I think you're right.
For now, at this point.
For now, which going back to what you said, it is very cool that we saw somebody like that. But what's even cooler is ranking these movies, which we've done with for the past 22 videos. And right now, the ranking is that number 22 is Godzilla Raids Again. At number 21 is Godzilla's Revenge. At number 20, it is Son of Godzilla. At number 19, it is Return of Godzilla from 1984-5. At number 18 is Terror of Mechagodzilla. At number 17 is Godzilla vs. Megalon. At number 16 is Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. At number 15 is going to be Invasion of the Astral Monster. At number 14 is Godzilla vs. King Kong from 1962. At number 13 is Godzilla vs. Kong at 2021. At number 12 is Godzilla 2014, not Godzilla versus the year of 2014. But Godzilla 2014. At number 11, we have Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. At number 10, we have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, the OG. At number 9, we have Destroy All Monsters. At number 8, we have Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. At number 7, we have Godzilla versus Gigan. At number 6, we have Godzilla versus Biollante. At number 5, we have GXK, the New Empire. At number 4, we have the original Godzilla from 1954. At number 3, we have Godzilla vs. Mothra from 1962. At number 2, we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters from 2019. And at number 1, we have Godzilla -1. Reading through this list already, I kind of have a grouping. I think I know where I want it within.
Yeah, same.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
I'm not sold on like a specific spot, but I know whereabouts on the list I want it to go.
So I'm thinking in the grouping of Mecha Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, and Ghidorah, the original.
Yeah.
I'm thinking above that at number 8.
Okay,
because I think it's more entertaining than all of those. And like I think the fights are better, and the highs are higher, and the lows are not nearly as low as some of these movies down below.
That's damn.
I also could be going off of hype because we just watched this movie.
Yeah. So I was gonna move it down into the next category of like between like the Sea Monster 2014 and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
I have a very soft spot for the Sea Monster, which should be much higher on this list.
It's already so high. Well, okay, I'll let you have that one because I have Godzilla at 8, and that's pretty egregious. I think.
So I'm gonna put it. Son of a bitch! I'm gonna put it at number 12.
Okay, so if you don't know, when we have a disagreement,
wait, where are you putting it?
I was suggesting number 8.
You did say that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did say that. Yeah. And I say that because like I genuinely love Destroy All Monsters, Ghidorah the three-headed monster, and then the Sea Monster.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I think this is where I'll concede. I think this is a good number. Number 12 is a good spot for this one.
Okay.
Because again, I do really like it. I like it more than a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Oh.
I'm sticking to number 8. Because I think it's better than everything below it. I would probably rather watch this more. Rather watch this one again than the original Ghidorah. If I'm being honest, I do think so because I think the fights are better. Obviously, they have about 20 to 30 years of like technological advancement.
Yeah.
But like, still, I don't know. I think this one is something I would rather go back to because also I'm going to be biased towards the Heisei era. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, well, and honestly, that may be part of this decision for me. Is like this is my first time seeing this, whereas like these movies I'm nostalgic for. So
and you know what's funny is like this one I'm not necessarily nostalgic for, but just that era.
Yeah.
So I think I'm confident with number 8 as my answer for right now. So if you're not aware, what we do is when there is a disagreement, we bring out our attack cats from under the table.
What the hell? This is news to me.
Scratching my leg the whole time. No, but what we do is we go ahead and we play rock, paper, scissors. Anyways, we do rock, paper, scissors, shoot 1 round. Winner gets the gold I think this is the least heat behind a disagreement we've had. Because I think so. I think from number 8 to number 12, we're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is a pretty cordial,
anyway, yeah. So, all right, ready. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right.
Got him.
With that, the ranking is now at number 23. Godzilla raids again. At number 22, we have Godzilla's Revenge. At number 21, we have Son of Godzilla. At number 20, we have Return of Godzilla. At number 19, we have Terror of Mechagodzilla. At number 18, we have Godzilla vs. Megalon. At number 17, we have Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. At number 16, we have Invasion of the Astra Monster. At number 15, we have Godzilla vs. King Kong from 1962. At number 14, we have Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021. At number 13, we have Godzilla from 2014. And now at number 12, we have Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah from 1992. And from here, we have still 11, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster or Ebro Horror of the Deep. At number 10, we still have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. At number 9, Destroy All Monsters. At number 8, we have the original Mechagodzilla. At number 7, we have Godzilla vs. Gigan. At number 6, we still have Godzilla vs. Biollante. And at number 5 still remains GXK, The New Empire. Number 4, the original 1954 Godzilla. Number 3, we have Godzilla vs. Mothra. And at number 2, we have Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019. And the number 1 spot is still Godzilla -1. This top 5 section still has stuck.
It's staying, man.
It's staying there. So that's going to be, again, I still think there are contenders coming.
There are. There absolutely are. Yeah.
With that, we'll have to move on to the next one for now. I believe is going to be Godzilla vs. Mothra, the Rebirth or something.
Something.
It's something. There's a subtitle called Rebirth.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't seen this one before. It's been a very long time. It's going to be a very similar story from Godzilla vs. Ghidorah in terms of I watched it on Crackle.
I've never seen this one.
And this is the one that we're going to have kind of trouble finding. We're going to have to figure out where it's streaming right now.
I couldn't find it on streaming. I looked the other day to see. There's a DVD on Amazon, though, that we can, if we have to.
Okay. So we'll get this figured out at some point. Please stay tuned. Until then, my name is Corey.
I'm Wyatt.
This has been Let's Get Nerdy, and we got to get back to nerding out.
Thank you,
Please
guys.
like and subscribe, by the way.
Please! Share also.